Hey, welcome back to another Max 9 tutorial. This is tutorial number 30. Jitter Effects 2? I guess, sort of, yes. And brcosa, as people like to say all the time, brcosa, that is brightness, contrast, and saturation. In Max, we always have cute abbreviations for things. So we're going to learn how to do this effect today. And we're going to start from scratch, sort of. So let's just get a video out to play here. Because we're doing brightness, contrast, and saturation often means color. So let's get something out that actually has some color to it. And I guess dishes would be fine for that. Let's go ahead and put dishes out here. This thing, by the way, is called a playlist. And it creates itself automatically, but you can do more with it. I realized in the last video I was just pulling these things kind of out of the sidebar, pulling these things out of the sidebar, as they say, and playing them, and I didn't really explain them. But here it is, the play bar with dishes loaded in it, and let's then type the letter J and type B. Once you get that window, you get a little B in there, and you'll probably get brcosa, and if you don't, just pick it out of this list and double click on it. And we will bring brcosa down here and put a little typing a J again, and then a P for P window. We get our little P window, which means patcher window, by the way, and to keep it in the right scale, you can just push the Shift key down, and there it is in the right scale. So great. We have most of the elements we need here. I'm going to connect this up so we can see it, and then I can connect this to the brcosa, and we can start it. I just locked my patcher, and we can just start it playing and looping. So very colorful indeed, and we're going to then figure out, maybe that's a distraction, but maybe it's not. We're going to unlock our patcher and highlight brcosa, and then come over here. If you have the inspector open, you'll actually want to go down to reference here, and brcosa, brightness, contrast, and saturation. And here, under attributes, we see brightness, we see contrast, and we see saturation. And that means all of these words can be used. You can prepend a message with these words, and it will address that parameter inside the effect. Okay, so let's start off with a simple one, brightness. It's also alphabetically the first, and just click on it so that it's highlighted, and then down here we even get an explanation. Brightness default equals 1.0. So values below 1 reduce brightness, while values above 1 increase brightness. So let's try out a simple version of this, and we'll zoom over here, and we'll type an N and say prepend brightness. I'm not saying it's easy to spell brightness, but it's not too bad. English language is so funny. Anyway, so we're going to prepend brightness and feed it right in there. And because the values tend to go between like 0 and 1 and 1 and 2, we're going to want floats. And normally I would just go ahead and stick a slider in here, but it does occur to me I'm going to type an F instead and put this in here so that we can actually see, and tell you what, we'll just start with 1. Here's a 1. It doesn't do anything. It just is what it is. And then we'll start scrolling downward. So I clicked on it, and now I'm scrolling down, and we can see it very quickly fades to black. Now it's negative. I wonder what happens. Nothing. I keep scrolling down to -5 and it doesn't do anything. Now I go up above 1 and we can see that it is really getting bright. I'm going to click on it again because I ran out of space to scroll. Whoops. So we can see up around 10 even. It's just as bright as can be, and I'm not even sure where you have to get to make everything disappear. Okay, so the useful parameters are probably between, let's say, about 0 and 5. It's really burning out here, but oh sure, why not? We'll say 0 and 10. So why did I go through all that trouble? So that when I make myself a slider, new slider, I can make this, I'm going to make horizontal sliders today. I don't know why. I'm just in the mood for a nice horizontal slider. And we know that when you make a slider, it tends to be an integer between 1 and 27. But now we want to float between 0 and 10. So we highlight it, we go over to the inspector, we scroll on down to float output, which we need it to do so that it's a decimal. We need the range to be 10.0. I always put in the points just for fun because sometimes Max reads the number that you put in as a direction, like, oh, that's a point, so I'm going to do that. Okay, and the output minimum is 0, and we've already discovered that negative numbers don't really do anything with this, so we're good to go. So here we go. We'll, wait a second. We want to individualize these, don't we? What would brightness? What do you associate with brightness? Yellow. Of course you do. There you go. And now when this, or maybe white. Let's go for white. There we go. Put in another color. Pick the color. Did I get the color? Oh, on color. Yeah, it's white. We're all good. Okay, here we go. So now locking our patcher, right. So probably we also want a maybe a normal button on this that says, you know, like message normal 1.0, so that you know where normal is. There it is. So now if you're screwing things up, you can just hit this and it'll go right back to normal. You're like, oh, is this where it should be? No, that's normal. You know, I mean, you might want a 0 on here for off. But there we go. So we've got a prepen brightness and we have a slider, and that manages this particular parameter known as brightness. Now we can take shortcuts, and we do love the shortcuts, do we not? So let's just, you know, I highlighted all of these, and now I'm going to option click on them and just make more of them. So there's 1, and here's 2. So the next one, if we recall, was contrast. So contrast. We can look it up, of course, by clicking on the Brcosa, going to reference, and saying, what were those again? Brightness, contrast, and saturation. How do you know you don't want to mess with the plane count or output mode or alt name or dim? You just don't, because that seems kind of advanced and none of us know what they are. Well, I do, but it's advanced, so just trust me. This is why you have a teacher here. Brightness, contrast, and saturation are the parameters you're looking at. So we could even get ahead of ourselves and type saturation here. And then connect them. But one thing that we don't know yet is what happens when you have, well, let's start with 1. So there's 1 contrast-wise, and if we go down to that's probably 0, we just get kind of grayness. No contrast at all. And then if we... Oh, I guess I could have... Here, we'll do this so that we actually know what's going on. Put this on top of here. And I'll put this one on top of here. And then we can see the numbers read out. And since I'm doing it, we'll do that too. There we go. So now we're up at about 1, which, well, we can always click on this. There's 1, and that's quote-unquote normal contrast. And then we'll go up even higher to, there's 2. It's looking very, what do they call that? High contrast. And it just doesn't, oh yeah, I guess it does. But after about 4, it really doesn't do anything. So I'm going to say that with this slider here, okay, I thought through this very quickly, and I realized that what we don't want to do is have all our sliders look different. So I'm going to leave this one the way it is. I was going to make it 4, but we're going to set all these right next to each other, and then if 1 is here on one of them and in the middle on another one and at the high end on another one, it's going to be gibberish. So I'm not even going to bother changing this. I'm just going to say normal is always going to be 1 and all these are going to go to the middle. But we can still modify this by saying, what does contrast remind us of? I would say in the inspector that it reminds us of the color gray. So knob color. White, nope. Now it's going to be gray. But it's hard to see. I'll make it a little lighter gray. 17% gray. There it is. And it's sort of funny because they're all the same. Now I feel like brightness, it's saturation. So saturation, we're going to make that one, you know. I wish we could make it all colors, but we can't. So we'll make saturation, well, red. Red or yellow. We'll make it yellow, because why not? So there you go. Yellow, and I'm going to just make sure that saturation is similar. Here's 1. Let's go back to normal on contrast. Saturation is at 1 here, and then if you go down, it goes to black and white. That's what saturation means. And when it goes way up, you start getting some pretty intense colors until, oh my goodness, you're all the way up at like blowout colors, at which point if you turn the contrast up, yeah. So you can see these effects actually do, you know, brightness, contrast, and saturation can actually be, you know, quite messed up and make something like that. So, oh, sorry. Bloop, bloop, bloop. But we're back to normal. Well, that was a lot of fun. So I'm going to put this up here. I'm going to take these and put them off to the side here. Here. And, you know, I can just move everything all at once. Right? Almost. Video? Why does he always neaten everything up? We don't know. I just do it. And then I suddenly think to myself, oh, this could be so much more compact if I just did this. And this, I don't know if I can get away with this one. No, I can't. Okay. Well, there it is. In a nutshell, our very, very easy, oh, here's something that you also might want to consider. If I click on this object and then I make another one, like here, this is a nice, oops, I'm going to hold the Shift key down so I get it approximately right. And then I'm going to make this one so it turns into a neat package. Also holding the Shift key down though. There we go. Okay, so now what we have, oops, I didn't do the thing that I was going to do, which is, now I'm just going to say this one more time. You can put as many patch cords on an outlet as you want, but not on an inlet. One video patch cord per inlet. But what this does is, this is pure video, as it were, coming out of here, and you can see it, and now you can see what the affected video will look like. So I'm going to lock my patcher, and I'm going to say, oh, what about this, this, and this? You know, it's very odd. More saturation, but I can't even remember what they are. I guess we need some labels here too. This is brightness, so very bright, not as bright, a little darker. And this is contrast, which we remember by it being gray. So very low contrast, very high contrast. And if we take the saturation all the way down, it should be black and white. Yeah, just a black and white, high contrast image. So a lot of preset possibilities there. Well, this has been thrilling learning about Brcosa with you, and I'm just going to say patch well, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.